The views and opinions expressed on any program are those of the producers and/or the persons appearing on the program and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of FRCMedia, Bristol Community College, or the City of Fall River.
This week in FRCmedia News, dozens of city residents may lose access to SNAP benefits this weekend. Can local food pantries fill the void? We get you ready for next week's municipal election, and the Atlantis Charter School launches its newest career academy. All this and more coming up. It's Thursday, October 30th, 2025. This is FRCmedia News. I'm Keith Tebow. With only a few days remaining in October and the U.S. federal government still shut down, dozens of Fall River families will likely not receive their monthly Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, or SNAP, benefits on November 1st. That will put a strain on local food pantries to serve more residents unable to afford food without that government assistance. The Greater Fall River Community Food Pantry holds 2 food distributions a week on Tuesdays and Thursdays from 10 a.m. until noon and serves between 900 and 950 families each month. People begin to gather in line outside the pantry's Nashua Street location early in the morning. Routinely, pantry volunteers are forced to shut the line down before it opens. Vice President Richard Mancini says current circumstances will make it difficult for the pantry to meet any increased demand.
We've had a lot of conversations lately, particularly with the board and Dave and I, trying to determine what we can do to help out and grow a little bit more. The problem is that we do have a shortage of materials. When I say that, the food product is not as, not as flowing as it used to be. The Boston Food Bank supplies are limited. Thank goodness we have a lot of private individuals, a lot of local markets and facilities that are supplying us with more food than normal, which is really good. And one of the things that's really assisting us in helping us to maintain an adequate supply of food is we're getting a lot of monetary donations lately from private individuals and corporations and small businesses. We are very fortunate.
Mr. Mancini says the food pantry is an independent operation, staffed solely by volunteers.
There's no one that gets paid here. We're strictly a volunteer organization. We're not funded by a government or government agency. We're not funded by state agencies, nor city agencies, nor a church or anything. It's strictly a group of private individuals that got together and formed this corporation. Right now we have we have an abundance of volunteers, and there are many people now calling us and wanting to volunteer. So we're doing very well in that aspect, but the monetary contributions, if they could keep growing, that would help us maintain when people leave here, they walk out with a shopping cart full of food. My estimate on that value with today's prices, $250 to sometimes $300 worth of food when they come here. So we want to keep that volume also.
Last week, Massachusetts Governor Maura Healey charged the United Way to organize a response fund for donations that would help food pantries keep their shelves stocked until SNAP benefits are restored. The United Way of Greater Fall River may be the beneficiary of some statewide donations. They're also seeking donations locally, which will supplement their growing commitment to the 20 to 25 local food distribution organizations it funds each year.
We've been supporting our local food distribution partners. That's everything from food pantries and soup kitchens to mobile outreach and other types of food security entities, mobile markets and things of that nature. We've been supporting them with food grants for many, many years. This year, though, and we sort of decided this a little bit ahead of time, but kind of, with the current atmosphere and sort of seeing what was potentially going to occur on the horizon, we leaned in and have already dedicated an additional 33%, I believe it is, over and above what we gave out last year for food grants. And so currently we're committing to increase from $75,000 last year to $100,000 this year.
While supporting local food pantries with additional funding, the United Way is also looking to collaborate with other local organizations to identify opportunities for individuals in need of financial assistance to get it.
We can't replace the system that exists, right? We're not going to be able to stand up a substitute system that may last for a day or a week or a month, potentially longer. So, what we can do is, yes, 100% support our food pantries and food distribution partners, but we also will be leaning into some of the other partners that have the capacity to vet individuals, because there are going to be individuals in need that might not have ever visited a food pantry or a soup kitchen. It's just, they're used to going to the grocery store. We don't want to dismiss that. And so much like we did with our COVID response fund, we're going to lean in and bring in some of our local organizations that have their own systems in place.
So how can local residents contribute to the United Way's response fund?
The best thing to do is to visit our website, and it is uwgfr.org. That is the initials for United Way, Greater Fall River, uwgfr.org. They will see right on the homepage. We've already got it up and running. The United Response Fund is there. Simple click of a button, and it will bring them to a secure portal for them to give online. They can send a check here to the United Way, P.O. Box 2550, Fall River, Mass. 02722.
Regardless of how long SNAP benefits may be paused, the local pantries remain constrained in trying to do more with fewer resources.
It's heartbreaking. It really is. It is not comfortable. It's against our being. That's our purpose is to help and to supply and to try and help people through crisis. And when you have to close the line and because of the shortages and the situation, it's heartbreaking. It really is. And we're trying to work something out. We're working a lot of discussion. Hopefully we'll come up with some sort of a resolution to help a little bit more. But with the influx of people, we can only handle so many people, and the lines are getting longer and longer.
Massachusetts 4th District Congressman Jake Auchincloss, who represents Fall River, spent time with us in our FRC Media studios last week. Among the items discussed was the current federal government shutdown. The congressman joins other Democrats in pointing the blame for the shutdown on the Republicans and President Donald Trump, who he says are unwilling to talk about preserving health care and other issues that impacts all Americans.
Before this shutdown happened, I led a number of Democrats in a proposal that showed the Republicans all the different starting points to get to yes. It wasn't just, by the way, or even frankly, primarily about the ACA tax credits. It was about reversing the worst of the Medicaid cuts, because those Medicaid cuts, when they go into effect, are going to raise the cost of long-term care and health premiums for everybody, not just Medicaid beneficiaries. It was about refunding the COPS grants. The Republicans cut COPS grants that help hire and train local law enforcement. We wanted to refund those, fund the police. It was about giving Congress a vote on these tariffs so that Americans' lawmakers have a say in what is the biggest tax hike that Americans have experienced since World War II. It was about corruption and reining in the worst impulses of Trump with his meme coins or RFK with his grift. Any one of those points, if Republicans want to get to yes, I think that we can deliver a win for the middle class and get this government funded. But Republicans have refused to talk. Speaker Johnson hasn't opened up the House for a session so we can at least debate one another in the last 3 weeks.
We'll have more of our conversation with Congressman Auchincloss on next week's show. Former Fall River Mayor Will Flanagan continues to recover from being stabbed early last week on Hartwell Street. This week, the former mayor took to Facebook to share an update on his condition and his experiences from that day. In his message from the heart, Mr. Flanagan wrote, quote, "I came face to face with death. A man, lost in psychosis, stabbed me multiple times, in my face, in my body, and in my neck. I can still feel the weight of those moments, the sound, the fear, the realization that I might never see my family again. He went on to say, because of the bravery of police officers who ran toward danger, because of the strength of EMTs and firefighters who fought to keep me alive when every second counted, and because of the skill, mercy, and love of the doctors and nurses at St. Luke's who refused to give up on me, I am still here. 31-year-old Corey Gonzalez has been charged with 2 felonies, armed assault to murder and assault and battery with a dangerous weapon, resulting in serious bodily injury in the attack on Mr. Flanagan. He's being held without bail and is undergoing a mental evaluation to determine if he's competent to stand trial. Next week at this time, we'll know how Fall River voted in the races for mayor, city council, and school committee in the municipal election. Polls open Tuesday, November 4th at 7 a.m. and will close at 8 p.m. at 27 precincts across Fall River. If you have not voted since the last municipal election 2 years ago, a few of the polling precincts have changed locations.
So this is going to be our 5th election since the polling precincts were consolidated. So polling precincts 8B, 8C, and 9A now vote at Bristol Community College. Precincts 8B and 6C vote at St. Anthony of the Desert Church on Eastern Avenue. And precincts 3B and 3A vote at Good Shepherd Parish on South Main Street. So if you have any questions about your polling precinct information or your voter registration status, please contact the Elections Department. My office number is 508-324-2630. My staff and I look forward to helping you with any questions you might have.
Those who still have an absentee or mail-in ballot, they must be returned to the elections office on Election Day by 8 p.m. to be counted. You cannot return them to a polling place on November 4th. 2 years ago, just under 20% of eligible voters cast ballots in the municipal election, much lower than the turnout last year in the presidential election. Mr. Lyon says why that is a mystery.
I get asked that question all the time. I don't know why, again, going from a 50% voter turnout with the biennial state election in 2024 to a 10.5% voter turnout with the preliminary election, probably to 20% voter turnout. I don't know why that is the case, especially when, and again, I want to emphasize this, the local elections are the most important for the city's future. So please, get out to the polls and vote. The issues that impact the city of Fall River directly are decided by the Office of the Mayor, the City Council, and the Office of School Committee. Optimistically, with a smile on my face, I'm hoping that it's going to match 2023, which was a 20% voter turnout. That is still not good enough. I'm really aiming a little bit higher than that. I'm hoping that it's going to be about 25%.
So who's on the ballot next week? The candidate's position for each race was determined by draw. In the race for mayor, incumbent Mayor Paul Coogan is seeking a 4th term in office and is challenged by Gabriel Boomer Amaral. There are 14 candidates running for 9 seats on the City Council. The first 2 slots are filled by challengers, Michael Canuel and Jonathan Lima. 4 incumbents are listed next, Sean Kadim, Cliff Ponte, Andrew Raposo, and Paul Hart. Challenger Nathan Sylvia is next, followed by incumbent Michelle Dion and appointed incumbent Ricky Tith. Former Councilor Christopher Peckham is next. He's followed by challenger Louis Mellum and 3 incumbents, Brad Kilby, Linda Pereira, and Joe Camara. There will be at least 3 new members of the school committee as 10 candidates are on the ballot for 6 spots. Incumbent Kevin Aguiar tops the list, followed by challengers Mark Mollicone and Chanel Stewart. Incumbent Tom Corey is next, followed by 5 challengers, Randy Dudek, Emmanuel Moniz, Anna Riley, John Sylvia, and Shiv Thakur. Appointed incumbent Colin Dias is listed last. Let's hear from the 2 candidates for mayor as they presented their closing statements at last week's FRCmedia mayoral debate.
I believe that this was the most sharp contrast of all the debates I've ever been in for mayor. I want to thank everybody for putting it on. What I was talking about were things that are actually happening, and I think a lot of it got melted into Mr. Amaral's message. I don't really know if he put out one tangible thing that's gone on that he wants to do. And Fall River isn't perfect. We face more than our share of challenges as a city. My administration has made incredible strides toward addressing challenges over these past 6 years. We worked tirelessly to get this city back on the right track. As mayor, I've dedicated myself to making Fall River a better place to live, making significant investments in our schools, sidewalks, public safety, and so much more. If re-elected, my administration will continue to prioritize safety, economic opportunity, and quality of life for working families just like yours. And I will continue to put Fall River first in everything that I do. I still believe in transparent leadership that listens and acts with integrity. That's why I'm respectfully asking you to re-elect me on November 4th. Together, we can keep Fall River moving forward and keep it on the right track. Thank you all.
The questions are simple. Do you feel better and safer today than you did 6 years ago? It's a simple question. If you can sit here and nod your head and say, yeah, you know what, I'm doing better, then stay with Mr. Coogan. By all means, if you think he's doing a great job. I, for one, do not believe that a people's mayor being stabbed on our streets and basically stabbed in the face, almost considered attempted murder. Thankfully, he's a strong man and survived. Is an exaggeration and being, taken out of context, as the mayor has said today on the news. Yeah, it's just being exaggerated. So the stabbing on Sunday didn't matter because it wasn't a prominent person. I guess we're just exaggerating on that as well. Dead bodies in the woods for months at a time, it's just an exaggeration. The homeless camps, the dead bodies that we're finding in those, it's just an exaggeration. The cost of living, it's just an exaggeration. All the things that we are suffering from, he doesn't have to, because when he doesn't have it, he just comes to the city council and says, we need more. And that's easy to do. You don't get that luxury. Your jobs aren't doing that for you. You don't get to say, oh, well, the mayor raised our rates again and raised our taxes 2.5% again, and he's going to charge us these increases again. You don't get to say that. And your boss be like, you know what, we're going to increase that. He has that luxury of living off the taxpayer. He did it for 30 years in the school department. He's never created a real job. He does it in City Hall. He's never created a real job. But yet all his friends and family are living off of our tax dollars.
Still unsure who to vote for? You can watch all the forums, candidate statements, and interviews via our special Election 2025 webpage, frmedia.org/election 2025. And join us Tuesday night at 8 p.m. as we collaborate with Fall River Government Television to provide coverage of the election results. The Atlantis Charter School in Fall River officially launched its newest School to Work Career Academy this week, with a concentration on emergency medical services, or EMS. Called the EMS Tritons Academy, the high school senior-focused in-depth curriculum will prepare students upon graduation to either continue their studies or directly enter the workforce.
They learn everything from anatomy and physiology to patient assessment to how to deal with emergencies, all different types of emergencies, terrorism, operations for emergency management. It's a plethora of things that they learn, and ultimately they have to put it all together at the end, test out through a practical and a cognitive exam, and then they get their certification. Once they get their certification, they can basically apply to any ambulance company, whether it's private, fire. They can work in the emergency departments, they can work in urgent cares, and then ultimately, if they want to progress on like I did, they can become paramedics, go into critical care, and also advance out and become like a nurse and keep going up if they want to continue on with healthcare.
Within the 5 school to career academies at Atlantis, the EMS Tritons Academy is an offshoot of its Health MedTech program.
It's not for everybody. They have to have a passion for the healthcare field. They need to want to be in healthcare. Once they want to join, they usually go through a exploratory program here during their freshman year, and they explore our 5 pathways for career academies. If they choose the medical academy, they start with already learning their sophomore and junior year, and then ultimately they put it all together their senior year, and it's a full-blown year program.
Because of the intense academic and hands-on workload, entrance into the EMS Tritons Academy is limited to 6 students. Olivia Aguiar of Fall River is a member of the inaugural class. She hopes to use the academy as a springboard to one day become a doctor.
From a very young age, I've always wanted to be in the medical field. It's something I love to do. I love helping people, and the opportunity that Jen gave us to become an EMT and to have the class throughout the whole school year while being even in high school is something that I was really excited to do. I think having the background of being in the EMT program will allow me to further look into different expansiveness of a medical field in like the medical setting and like an ED, because an EMT doesn't just work on a truck, they actually work in the emergency department as well. So I want to be a specific cardiologist. So having the EMT program, it's a very skilled, and like you have to be able to think on time, on the point, and like know what you're talking about. So I think it'll help me for becoming a doctor.
Students within the academy work with local EMS operations to gain real-world emergency medical service experience.
We have partnerships with multiple community partners here. Fall River EMS, our EMT students and our medical academy students do internships their senior year with them, where they actually go on like ambulance ride-alongs. We also have a partnership with Brown Health with St. Anne's Hospital, where our students go in and observe in the emergency department and diagnostics. And we also have partnerships with True Dental, where our students go in if they want to go into the dentist field. They can go in and observe any type of like dental procedures and so forth.
We'll have more FRC Media News after this. I'm Keith Tebow from Fall River Community Media.
And I'm Pamela Martin from Fall River Government Television.
The 2025 biennial municipal election is right around the corner. Join us on Tuesday, November 4th for results live from the Fred TV studio.
Our broadcast begins at 8 o'clock live on FRG TV, Channel 18. Numbers from all 27 precincts will be announced. And former mayor and current Bristol County Commissioner John Mitchell will be back with us in studio.
We'll be streaming on Facebook and bringing you additional election coverage, including live look-ins from the mayoral candidates' headquarters.
Polls are open for 13 hours from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. So please do your civic duty and get out and vote.
And we'll see you Tuesday, November 4th.
Here are some job descriptions on the latest hot jobs list from the Mass Hire Fall River Career Center. Family Services Clinician, Old Colony YMCA, located at 238 North Main Street, seeks a full-time family services clinician to provide home and community-based inclusive care and individualized treatment interventions to families. Job number 232-49596. Office Coordinator, Brown Health Medical Group, located at 277 Pleasant Street, is looking for a full-time office coordinator, responsible for assisting with all practice and administrative operations. Job number 232-48563. Industrial Plumbing Systems Technician, Technicore, located at 755 Pine Street, is seeking a full-time industrial plumbing systems technician, responsible for the installation, maintenance, and repair of industrial process piping systems. Job number 232-54736. Home Care Case Manager, Bristol Elder Services, located at 1 Father de Valleys Boulevard, is urgently looking for a full-time home care case manager. For more information, call 508-675-2101. St. Anne's Hospital, located at 795 Middle Street, has an immediate need for the following full and part-time positions. Patient Transporter, job number 232-55323. OR Registered Nurse, job number 232-55324. For more information about these or other positions, visit Mass Hire JobQuest at jobquest.dcs.eol.mass.gov or call the Mass Hire Fall River Career Center at 508-730-5000.
It's time of the program where we take a look at the latest business and economic development news in Fall River. I'm joined by Kevin Lawrence of Fall River Development News. You can find all of his information and his reports on Facebook. Kevin, how are you?
Very well. Happy to be here once again, Keith.
All right, let's get right to it. Let's start with something in the North End. A storefront on North Main Street near President Avenue is going to be seeing a new tenant very soon.
Yeah, this is a vacant storefront at 1040 North Main Street. It's right next to the D'Angelo's at the bottom of President Avenue. The same spot was last occupied by the Seven Hills Indoor Country Club. That closed several months ago. It opened in 2024. It's been vacant ever since. It was an indoor golf simulator facility. And we've learned that Wicked Good Barbershop is moving into that location. They're currently located at 795 Robeson Street. near New Boston Road, just like a block away from Charlton Memorial Hospital. The new shop on North Main Street is larger in size. It's 1,500 square feet, and they'll open for business on November 4th. They'll be closing their location on Robeson Street and moving to North Main Street at a larger location. They're a modern, upscale barber shop that originally opened on East Main Street in Fall River back in 2018. So they moved from East Main to Robeson and now on to North Main.
Always looking for bigger space, as a lot of companies are. All right, moving on. Cordero Properties, which has multiple properties in the city of Fall River, has some new tenants for one of its properties on Bedford Street.
Yeah, 3 new tenants. I'm going to start off with the one on Bedford Street. They just announced this. They're putting the final touches on the 4th floor of the Melcor building. That's adjacent to the Central Fire Station at 191 Bedford Street. And their new tenant on the 4th floor is Primacare PC's new neurology practice. It's going to be opening up, and that means now that Melcor building that is 4-story, actually 5 stories in height, I believe, is now 100% occupied with tenants. In addition, Cordero Properties has also announced that the 3rd floor of their Bristol County Bank building on Pleasant Street, adjacent to 195, is being retrofitted for 2 new tenants. They've moved in Revive MD Hormone and Aesthetics and Mindful Medicine, both divisions of Primacare PC. So some healthcare organizations moving into both of their buildings, and that brings more people into downtown. Those workers, of course, will have to eat lunch, and they'll have to go somewhere. So that brings some more activity to downtown Fall River.
And speaking of lunch and speaking of downtown, there's a cafe that's going to be a new cafe downtown.
Just opened up a couple of weeks ago, Cafe Poke. This is located at 99 South Main Street, adjacent to Government Center. They are now open for business. Cafe Poke replaces the former 2nd location of Christopher's Cafe, which operated at 99 South Main Street for about 3 months earlier this year before closing. Cafe Poke's menu includes a variety of items: poke bowls, beef barley soup. They have an eggplant parm sandwich, Thai curry coconut shrimp soup. And then they have like classic Italian sausage with onions and peppers, sweet and spicy carrot soup. They have beef chili, so it's kind of all over the place. We hope they do okay and survive at this new location. There's been high turnover at this 99 South Main Street. They're located on the ground level, and they're open Monday through Friday from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m., and they're closed on Saturdays and Sundays.
All right. You can find Kevin's work on Fall River Development News on Facebook. Please give him a like and a share. And Kevin, we'll talk again next week. Take care.
Thank you, Keith.
I'm Keith Tebow from Fall River Community Media.
And I'm Pamela Martin from Fall River Government Television.
The 2025 biennial municipal election is right around the corner. Join us on Tuesday, November 4th for results live from the Fred TV studio.
Our broadcast begins at 8 o'clock live on FRGTV Channel 18. Numbers from all 27 precincts will be announced. And former mayor and current Bristol County Commissioner John Mitchell will be back with us in studio.
We'll be streaming on Facebook and bringing you additional election coverage, including live look-ins from the mayoral candidates' headquarters.
Polls are open for 13 hours from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. So please do your civic duty and get out and vote.
And we'll see you Tuesday, November 4th. That's all for this week's edition of FRC Media News. Visit our website, frmedia.org, for more local news and information. FRC Media News airs Thursdays at 6 p.m. and Fridays at 5:30 p.m. on Channel 95, as well as the Fall River HD channel located on Channel 1072. For all of us here at FRC Media News, I'm Keith Tebow. If you're eligible to, please vote on Tuesday, November 4th, and we'll see you next Thursday.